Okay, so we are going to discuss about the nature of the earth as the 8th unit of grade 7. So the videos related to the discussion will be shared in your WhatsApp group. So after watching the recording, you can just get your notes completed, and at the same time, you can watch the uh, YouTube videos that I am sharing in your WhatsApp group, right? Hari. So you know that the planet Earth is the third planet from the sun in our solar system, right? The third planet in our solar system. So if we start from Mercury, then Venus, Earth, the third planet, right? So how many planets are there in our solar system? Earth, then Mars, then Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune. Altogether, 8 planets are there, right, in our solar system. But we find life only on planet Earth. It is full of biodiversity. Have you ever thought why? Now, the planets like Mercury, Venus, since they are close to the sun, they have a very high temperature, right? And when it comes to the planets which are far away from the sun, like Uranus, Neptune, they have a very extremely low temperatures, right? Therefore, that is not suitable for the existence of life. So, on planet Earth, we find an optimum temperature, presence of an optimum temperature, suitable temperature for the organisms to survive, presence of an optimum temperature. For the survival of organisms. Right? Then as the second one we can say, you know, there is an atmosphere with oxygen and carbon dioxide. Oxygen is essential for respiration of organisms, aerobic respiration. Then carbon dioxide is essential for the photosynthesis, which photosynthesis is the process by which the whole living world gets food. Right? Majority of the living organisms get food by means of photosynthesis. The plants produce food and the animals depend on that food directly or indirectly. So we can say presence of an atmosphere with oxygen. Oxygen, we write it as O2, and carbon dioxide, CO2, right? It's okay if you write oxygen and carbon dioxide in words as well, since you are still in grade 7, right? Then, you know that water exists in the liquid state on Earth. The scientists haven't found out any other planet yet with liquid water, right? So we can say presence of water, presence of water in the liquid state, in the liquid state, presence of water in the liquid state. Right? These are the reasons, main reasons why we find life only on planet Earth in our solar system. Okay. Then now, uh, when we consider planet Earth also, it is a huge structure, right? Once we mention the dimensions, the thickness of each layer, you will realize. Right? So how do the geologists, the term geologist. Now you learn geography, right? Bhugola Vidya. So the word geo, the term geo is associated with the earth, right? Geologist, geography, geothermal energy. Likewise, there are different terms associated with the earth. So geologists are the scientists who carry out experiments on the nature of the earth, the things related to the earth. So it asks, how do geologists obtain information about the nature of the inner part of the earth, right? Nature of the inner part of the earth, right? So there you have to say that now you have heard about earthquakes, right? During an earthquake, there is a type of wave which is propagated along the surface of the earth. We call these as seismic waves, right? So by studying the seismic waves during earthquakes, right? During earthquakes. Okay. And in addition to that, now you know during a volcanic eruption, the lava is flowing along the surface of the earth. So actually that is magma coming out from the earth, and once it is on the surface of the earth, we call it as lava, right? So by studying the samples obtained from the places of volcanic eruption, right? Hari. Then it mentions about how the earthquakes are studied by using the seismic waves. The seismic waves are obtained from the seismometers, which are located in different locations. Sri Lanka, one such seismometer is located in Pallekele, that is in the central province, right? So here it says, during earthquakes, huge rock movements within the earth give rise to seismic waves, right? Okay, these waves reach the surface of the earth by running through various layers of the earth. So seismometers are installed in different stations of the earth. Right, these seismic waves are automatically marked by these seismometers. I will share the videos in your WhatsApp group. Then you can see how these work. So in Sri Lanka, it is located in Pallekele. The speed of seismic waves running through various layers of the earth are different because the speed of the seismic waves vary based on the layer of the earth. Information about internal layers of the earth can be obtained by measuring the speed of those different seismic waves, right? So accordingly, they have identified that there are three main parts, three main layers in the earth, right? So let's see what are these layers. Uh, the inner part of the earth can be divided into three layers. So you can write down here. I will show it from this diagram. So it is something like a replica of a hard-boiled egg. So we can't cut the egg with the shell. Therefore, the shell is not indicated here. But if we think that the shell is already also there, so the outermost part of the earth is known as the earth's crust. It is represented by the eggshell, right? Earth's crust. right? Crust of the earth, eggshell. So this is the crust, right? The outermost layer. Then the egg white indicates, okay? Here you can see the egg white indicates the mantle. So we can divide this mantle as the inner mantle and the outer mantle, right? Anyway, the mantle is represented by the egg white, right? Here we can say that this is mantle, right? Then the egg yolk, the yellow portion, that is the earth's core of the earth. So core can be divided into, this is the inner core, and then the outer core, right? Now we are going to learn about these three main layers: the earth's crust, then the mantle and the core of the earth. Okay, so it is easy to remember. We'll take one by one. Hari. First, it is the crust of the earth. So related to the crust, we have to remember that the surface of the earth where life exists is the crust. We find all of these living organisms on the earth's crust, right? When compared with the size of the earth, it is a thin layer. It is a thin layer, but it is also not that thick. Now, you know, it is not a smooth surface. If we consider that this is the earth, it is not a very smooth surface. There are highlands as well as deep ocean beds. Neither. It is something like this. Okay? Hari. Mountains, plains, and oceans are found on the crust. Mountains, plains, as well as oceans. Plain, Tanitalabim, right? So its thickness varies from place to place. Now this is the earth's crust. If this is the earth's crust, if we mention the thickness, at the bottom of the oceans, its thickness is about 5 kilometers. At the bottom of the oceans, its thickness is about 5 kilometers, right? Bottom of the oceans. ඒ කියන්නේ මුහුදු පතුලේ ඉඳන් බැලුවොත් thickness එක. Bottom of the oceans, its thickness is about 5 kilometers. On land, there are highlands as well. No? On land, its thickness is about 35 kilometers. So it is also not that thin. But when compared to the thickness of the whole Earth's layers, this crust is a very thin layer. That is why we mentioned that we can compare it to the shell of a boiled egg, right? The Earth's crust consists of rocks and soil. So the Earth's crust is made up of basic elements. Now remember the elements which are present in the Earth's crust, which have made the Earth's crust: oxygen, silicon, and aluminium. Oxygen is the most abundant. වඩාත්ම සුලභ මූලද්‍රව්‍ය තමයි oxygen, the most abundant element. The second most abundant one is silicon. And in addition to that, there is aluminium, right? So we know we obtain all these materials for agricultural activities, the fertilizer, all these are obtained from this Earth's crust. All the living organisms survive in the Earth's crust. And we obtain the building materials also from the Earth's crust. The Earth's crust provides most of the elements necessary for our survival. So rather than saying elements, here it's better to say materials, right? So the minerals, fossil fuel even, right? Metals, there are metal deposits. අපි කියන්නේ නිධි කියලා. නිධි නෙවෙයි නිධි, right? The ores, metal ores are there. So we can say minerals, metals, then also the fossil fuel, right? then soil and fertilizer for agricultural activities, and also something like clay, the raw materials needed for the production of bricks, cement, even construction materials. Construction materials are also obtained from the earth's crust. Right? So this is something very important for the existence of living organisms, and it has provided some additional advantages for human beings. Construction materials. Okay. Then when it comes to the mantle, it is the inner layer, next inner layer, the crust, and the next inner layer underneath the earth's crust lies the mantle. So the thickness of the mantle is comparatively very high, right? It is about, can you imagine, 2,900 kilometers, right? The total length of Sri Lanka is something like 632 kilometers, 600 something. Now 2,900 kilometers means that is a huge thickness, right? It consists of rocks. These rocks contain, in the mantle we find oxygen, silicon, magnesium and iron. In the earth's crust we mentioned oxygen, silicon and aluminium. In the mantle, oxygen, silicon, magnesium and iron, remember. So the upper part of the mantle consists of solid rocks, right? The upper part consists of solid rocks. But when going inside, what happens? Here you are given the word rocks. The lower part, when going inside, due to the high temperature in the earth's core, the lower part is made out of molten rocks. Melt වෙනවා කියන එක දන්නවනේ, chocolate melts. You know, molten chocolate. අනේ වගේ. Molten rocks due to the extremely high temperature. Okay? The upper mantle consists of solid rocks. Inner mantle consists of molten rocks. Right? පුංචි පුංචි දේවල් ටික මම මෙතන සමරි එකක් වගේ දීලා තියෙන්නේ, මතක තියාගන්න. Right? Then the innermost part is the core. So its thickness is further higher, 3,500 kilometers, right? The upper part of the Earth's core is made up of iron and nickel, right? Iron and nickel, both are metals, right? Iron and nickel. Right? The temperature, can you imagine, of this area is between 4,400 to 5,000 degrees Celsius. We can't think of touching boiling water, right, which is only 100 degrees Celsius. But here in the core, the temperature is 4,400 to 5,000 degrees Celsius, right, due to high pressure. Now there is a huge temperature as well as very high pressure exerted on the inner parts of the earth. Therefore, because of this high pressure, the lower part of the core remains hard. Then the inner core remains hard. Right? Inner core. Inner core, දැන් අපි හිතන්නේ temperature එක වැඩිම හින්දා යා melt වෙලා ඇති කියලා. නෑ. Because of the high pressure also exerted, the inner core exists in the solid state. It is hard. Right? It's better to say hard. Then its temperature is more than 5,000 degrees Celsius, which is as high as the temperature on the surface of the sun. හරිද? සූර්යාගේ මතුපිට උෂ්ණත්වය වගේ උෂ්ණත්වයක් තමයි තියෙන්නේ in the innermost part of the earth. The temperature of the inner core is more than 5,000 degrees Celsius. It's something similar to the temperature on the surface of the sun. Right? දැන් අපි ඉන්නේ මේ මොකක්ද? අර ඉන්දර උඩ ඉන්නවා වගේ තමයි අපි නේද? Right? On the Earth's crust, the temperature is not that high. Sorry. Okay. So here you are given the summary which is available in your textbook. The thickness of the inner layers of the Earth. So about the crust we mentioned in the from the ocean bed it is about 5 kilometers, and from land it is about 35 kilometers, but the thickness varies in the crust because there are highlands, lowlands, ocean beds as well. In the case of mantle, it is 2,900 kilometers, right? And in the case of the core, it is about 3,500 kilometers. The composition of the crust, rocks and soil, mantle, solid rocks and molten rocks are there, we mentioned. Then the core, upper part consists of molten rocks, while molten iron and nickel metals. Upper part is molten, inner part is solidified because of the high pressure. Elements, we mentioned crust, silicon, aluminium and oxygen, oxygen, silicon and aluminium. Mantle, oxygen, silicon, and in addition to that magnesium and iron are present. In the core, molten iron and nickel are the elements present. The special information, the crust is the thinnest layer. Mantle, upper part consists of solid rocks, while due to the high temperature, molten rocks are in the lower part. Right? Upper part consists of solid rocks. Full stop there. Upper part consists of solid rocks. Then due to the high temperature, molten rocks are in the lower part. Then in the case of the core, the temperature is between 4,400 to 5,000 degrees Celsius, Ocharai. That is related to the nature of the earth, right? What are the layers available? Okay. Then before we move on to the tectonic plate and plate tectonics, I will share a video related to the structure of the earth and about the seismic waves, right? Hari.